Hello and welcome to the Now What Next Steps podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. If you haven't listened to the sermon yet this past week, by all means, please press pause and go listen to the sermon because this might not make that much sense if you haven't listened to this past week's sermon. We're in our closing series of Reboot, week number 4, so please find that and listen to it now. All right, if you're still listening, that means you've listened to the sermon and you've done your homework, which is awesome. And you're here because you wanted more or you had a question and you're saying, now what? It's me, Joel. I'm on staff here at Malibu Pacific Church. And on top of that, we have a very special guest today. Who do we have here in our new podcast area?
Woohoo! Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Amy Pendergraft, and I am the newest member of our staff team.
Yep, she's been here since last year, which is really crazy. It's been a couple months. It's the new year. Anyways, Amy, tell everybody what you do here.
I get to oversee our adult discipleship. But really what I do is I help connect people into groups and help them figure out how to connect, how to find their people, and how to take their next step in exploring faith.
That's awesome. All right, so like I said before, we are on session 4. This whole month has been rebooting our faith, asking deep questions. Amy, did you get a chance to listen to the sermon yet?
I got to see it live.
What?
It was exceptional.
You saw it live?
I saw it live. There was a lot
on
of
site or in person?
On site.
And in person?
And in person.
Not online?
Yeah, not online.
Okay.
I haven't watched it online, but
okay.
I did hear from some people online that it was exceptional online as well. So there we go.
That's awesome. Just before we hit the record button, we were actually talking a little bit about the sermon. Surprise, surprise. Just thinking of, I think it really just landed with a lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah.
Andy started off with the way that maybe the church has been programmed to believe, which is you need to follow, believe, and obey. That was the way that we were going at it here at Malibu Pacific Church. But what we used to do was this: you had to obey first,
yes,
before you could believe, and then you can follow and be a part of the club. So he really flipped that over on its side, and it's really good stuff. What were your thoughts about that, Amy?
Well, I think something. I don't think that the church ever intended to make it feel like that, but I think people who haven't connected with a super healthy faith community can feel like, I'm not allowed to go into church until I live the right kind of life. And that's
I'm not a church person.
I'm not a church person. I mean, I've even had people make jokes about I can't walk in there, lightning's going to strike me.
Totally.
There's this idea that you have to be perfect before you can enter into a church building, and that's just so not what Christ says. Yeah. He invites all of us.
I've had that happen so many times here on this campus. Somebody walking up and be like, is it okay if I go in there?
Aww.
And I go, no, you can't. You're not welcome. Did
Joel,
you do that?
Stop it.
Did you use the sacrificial lamb yet out on the altar on the patio? And then you can go inside if you wash your feet. Anyways, no. It is really crazy how we sometimes just have that programmed into our minds. Or people who are not churched.
Yeah.
That's what they hear.
Right.
I wonder where they hear that from. What do you think, Amy?
Wow, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I mean, I think it's maybe us Christians not doing a great job of helping. We can talk about some of the guidelines that God has. I love the way Andy talked about the full and abundant life that Jesus offers to us. And when we obey, we actually get to walk in that full life. And I think that we can mistake the call to a full life to this life of perfect obedience. And so people catch up on that and they're like, oh, wait, being a Christian means I can't do this. I can't do that. And so if I can't even walk in the building. And so I don't know exactly. I think it's a slow, just like anything, it's lies, right? It's the lies that seep in that are out there. And
totally.
I think we can do better on helping people know that this is a safe place for everybody, no matter where they're at and what their story is. And even telling ourselves that. I think we can even look at ourselves and our actions and think, man, God's surprised or he's displeased because I didn't obey fully, and then we're mistaking who God is. He is not surprised by our disobedience. And he still invites us to that place of forgiveness. He still invites us into relationship with him. He still invites us to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
And then says, yeah, when you chose not to obey there was, you felt the weight of that,
mm-hmm.
right? And you felt maybe there were some natural consequences, those things, but it's not him saying, ha ha ha, here's your consequence, here's your...
Totally.
So...
I was out on the soccer field for the entire day on Saturday. Penelope my daughter made all-star soccer.
Woohoo!
Which was real fun. I know it's a total turn. I just wanted to be about me now. Just kidding. There's a point to this story. She was supposed to play 2 games, and then they got enough points that they're the last team in last place that made it to the 3rd game.
Oh, nice.
No, because we had to play a 3rd game, and they got creamed. Anyways, it was fine. It was fine. But
we also got creamed on the soccer field this weekend. So yeah,
it was more like a football game with those points that we had.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho, I'm out there with a bunch of the parents around Malibu, getting really connected with a lot of really awesome people, and I just keep getting this question of like, okay, so you work at the church. I didn't expect that from you, which I think is a compliment. I don't know, or maybe I'm not that good of a Christian. Who knows? No. And they're like, I just had this, this thought of what a Christian should be.
Yeah.
And here you are doing cocaine with us and cussing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. No,
yeah, but I think you're right. There's this idea, this box, and it's Christians are, I don't want to define it, but I think sometimes it can be, you have to be stoic and not enjoy life.
Totally. And that's where that obey thing, I think, comes from at the beginning, is because they're like, wait, so you just like obey and then you like belong to your little club? And I'm like, no, it's not a little club. It's a community of people who have it all. We're messed up. Like, that's it. Yeah. And on top of that, we're just trying to find community and support each other. And I'm like, you're always invited. And a couple of them have been coming, which has been pretty cool too. Yeah. So yeah, hanging outside of the church, I think, is pretty important.
Yes.
If you're listening to this.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yeah.
All right, so Andy dove into Matthew 7, 24 through 29, and talking about building, what's your foundation? Mm-hmm. Are you building on the rock? You're building on the sand?
Yeah.
Have there been times in your life, Amy, that you've built your foundation on the sand?
Sure. I think...
Okay, deepest, darkest sin, go. No,
ready.
Turn up the volume on your wherever you're listening to this.
But I think we can kind of build on the sand in small ways that become big ways, right? When we start to build on the ways that other people think. So I'll say I'm an Enneagram 2. I care a lot about what people think of me. I don't,
If you don't know what Enneagram is, you can go check that out at enneagram.com. It's just a personality test. It's also witchcraft. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Some people say that it's not. It's a really cool tool to help you find a little bit more about yourself. So,
yeah. And kind of the token qualities of Enneagram 2 is that they care deeply about other people, but their biggest fear is like rejection from others, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say that's probably the first thing that comes to mind that's safe and appropriate to share in this moment. Cool. But it's those moments when I look around and I'm like, okay, I care so much. I want so much to get this person's approval or to be thought of well that I'm going to maybe shift my behavior or make different choices than I would just for that moment of acceptance. And then you start to realize that it's an elusive thing, right? The approval and acceptance of others. And so I start to start to build on that, start to seek that out, and then don't get the approval and you're crushed and you realize, okay, I wasn't actually building for, on the foundation of the rock. I mean, that's the beauty of Jesus. When we draw near to him, there's the approval is there, the love is there, and it's so deeply, deeply there that it is a solid rock. So I don't have to seek the approval of someone else, and every time I go to build my life on that, then I feel like it's that shifting sand, and it always ends in disappointment and pain.
Absolutely. One of the things that I really loved about this sermon, and not picking it apart, but like just for my own, like what do I apply to my own life, is that, you know, we know that God created everything, but the emphasis that Andy really was like, God has some things to say about money, relationship success, satisfaction, sex, you know, just straight, like, went there. He's like, yes, God does have things to say about that, and we don't need to be so coy. We don't need to be like, oh, we don't say those things in church. Oh my gosh, we don't, icky. And then, like, he was asking people, have you ever been in a relationship? And it was like dead silent.
I know. It was like nobody dated. I was like, wait, I did.
I was like, man, I dated too much. And I don't know what it was in that moment that as a congregation, or as a community, we were quiet in that. Is that last night I was thinking, was it because we didn't want God to say something in that for us? Because we know that we've all screwed up in a relationship? Or we don't want God to control our money, or have some things to say. You know what I don't know. It made me really think of, like, why was it? Is it just because we're Presbyterian and we're the frozen chosen? Who knows? You know, like, maybe we just don't know how to say amen. You know, Terrell brings that out in us. I'm just asking that question, and I'm wondering if you're listening to this right now, obviously, if you're here or you're watching online, were you quiet in that moment too? What were what was the thought process that was going on in your mind? Were you taking a nap? Were you on your phone? Or was it something more? And I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it was that deep silence of like, ooh, that got close.
Yeah, it got a little too close. And so if you have thoughts about that, who's ever listening to this right now, please, like, send them in to me or Andy or Amy. Joel at Malibu Pacific Church, Amy at MalibuPacific.church, Andy at MalibuPacific.church. We'd love to hear just your thoughts, and I know it's weird to say feels, but, like, I don't know, your thoughts and your process inside of that moment. Or maybe it was just in my head because it hit me a little too hard. And that's what's been really cool in this season here at Malibu Pacific Church. I'm really, I don't know, loving, it's not picking apart the sermon. It's like, and Andy jokes about it. He's like, Joel's going to come and rip apart. And I'm like, dude, no, it's not that. It's literally what this podcast is called. It's the next steps. So it's like, it's the now what. We heard, we downloaded, but what do we do with it?
Yeah.
And so something that I wanted to do was just ask that question and hopefully have some great conversations with you who are here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. At the very end, and really this entire sermon series of Rebooting Your Faith is asking the question of a next step. Yeah. Like, and if you don't know what that means, it's saying, okay, you're here on a Sunday, you're watching online. What's your next step in this community? Is it just doing that?
Yeah.
Is it becoming the pastor? No, I don't know. Like, it's a pretty big jump, but, like, I just, what's the step? Is it serving somewhere? Is it downloading more information? You know, it's the following, like testing out, try before you buy. I don't know. There has to be a next step. So we don't just stay in the same place forever, because God wants us to grow. So, Amy, here's a question.
Yeah.
A little softball.
I'm ready.
Little baseball, just little Chuck kind of a deal. What would be a great next step for somebody here?
Good question.
Because you hosted something right after church
yesterday, we had a starting point lunch yesterday, and we talked about two different pathways. We talked about two opportunities to dig in for next steps. And
sweet.
The third, I would say, is serving. And serving is a great place to belong, and you don't have to believe to serve. You can just come be part of it. You can be a welcoming face, inviting people in. So if you want to serve, that's always a great next step. But we talked about at Starting Point Lunch 2 different ways to build community here. And we have a lot of people who are loving coming, and they're like, hey, I want more. What's next? And so we created 2 pathways, and they're actually, they really are a fork in the road. They're going different directions. And one is called Starting Point, and the other is called Rooted. And so I'll just talk a quick minute about, so Starting Point is really for people who aren't sure where to start. So this is a great place if you have questions, if you're wondering, if you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I don't even know if I fully believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this church thing is for me. Like, this is a great place for you. And so we kind of say this is a place for people that are new to the faith, for people that are coming back to church after taking some time away,
Mm-hmm.
people that are checking it out, or even if you're like, hey, I've been connected to a church, but I don't really think I've ever done a Bible study ever. I've never been in a small group. This would be a great spot for you to just get to know other people.
I thought we weren't supposed to have questions at church. So this is new to us.
No, dig those questions out. I mean, that's the thing about the silence yesterday. Was like, it was clear that, like it was clear that people haven't felt free to ask their questions, you know, or to be super honest with ourselves. We need to be honest with ourselves. Like, it's okay to be there and be like, hey, I don't really like the fact that God has something to say about my money. Let's talk about it. And we can have that conversation and say, okay, I don't really like the fact that God is telling me that there's maybe a best way to handle sexual relationships, you know? And that's a really hard thing, but it's to bring freedom, not to bring constriction. And so I think that's where we can get a little, anyway, I'm tangenting. Okay, let me pull back. Starting point. It is a place to ask questions. It is a great place to dig in, to ask questions. I love questions. If you ever want to ask me questions, I love to have conversations. I'm not afraid of, I don't buy it. I don't believe in God right now. I'm not afraid of those questions. I don't think Joel is either. So
I'm not. I tend to say too many bad things. So if you could sum up Starting Point and you had to do a commercial for it right now in one sentence.
Ooh,
shoot from the hip. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect.
It's a place to ask questions, to gather in community, and to explore faith. That's really what Starting Point is.
Boom! Right there.
Bam.
3-pointer.
Yeah.
Right there at the buzzer.
And for the facts, because I think sometimes it's helpful to know that, we're meeting Sundays starting February 19th.
19th.
5 Sundays in a row, 11:30 to 12:30. So you can come, be part of what's happening in the church life, and stay after for an hour. We're going to make it easy for you. If you're already here, just stay for 5 weeks and start digging into those questions.
Say they couldn't make all 5. Could they still be a part of Starting Point?
Yes, please. Please come.
Will there be an online aspect? Zoom?
There won't be on this round.
Not on this one, okay.
Yeah.
But in the future?
So in the future, there's a plan for it. Actually, if you are interested in an online Starting Point, let us know. Because if there is critical mass, we will do an online version at the same time. We're just not going to combine the in-person and online because it is a place to ask questions. And so we want to have actual conversations with each other. And so if we do it online, it'll be an all online community.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So email amy@malibupacific.church if you're wanting that online Starting Point experience.
Yes.
Cool.
And the other path, so that is one path is Starting Point. The other path is kind of the opposite. It's Rooted. It's that it is a place if you want to grow deeper in your faith through a discipleship experience. So this is like, okay, I want to grow in my faith. I want to experience my faith in new ways. So we have some experiences that are going to be part of it. This is for people that would say, yes, I believe in Jesus. So if you're not quite there, we really want to encourage you to go to Starting Point. If you're saying, yes, I believe in Jesus, I actually have been part of the church for a while, and I'm looking to be discipled, this group is for you.
That's awesome. So is it more like Rooted as in like a Moreton Bay fig tree where it stands on its own in its own roots, or is it more like what is it? A red? What are the tall trees?
Redwood.
Redwood.
Yeah.
Where they have to be connected.
Where you have to be connected. The roots
apart.
have to be connected. Do you guys know that about redwoods? It's pretty amazing.
They'll fall over if they don't work together. So I think it's a little bit of both.
And they actually share nutrients in their roots together. It's a little bit of both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I get
Colossians,
it. Rooted. Oh, okay.
Right? Like the roots.
There you go.
Colossians. I'm making funny hand gestures for those of you
if
that are
you're
only
watching
listening.
the video, you can see them. Please go look at the funny hand gestures if we don't cut this piece out.
Yeah, Colossians 2 says, So then, just as you've received Christ, continue to live your lives rooted and built up in him, strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. And that's what this group is. It's to be rooted together. We're going to meet monthly. It's going to be 1 month in person, 1 month on Zoom. It's going to be a little bit hybrid. We're starting that first meeting on February 26th. But if you want to be a part of Rooted, we want to get you your materials early. So please email me again at amy@malibupacific.church. And we need you to register for that group because we want to make sure that we have a book for you. You've got the materials and you can do that. So that's really that discipleship experience. What you're signing up with that is to connect in community, but also to be part of some actual like spiritual practices, which is a big fancy word of saying like, we are going to practice praying together. We are going to practice, some other disciplines that are talked about in the Bible, like fasting. We're going to practice giving together. So those are things that we want to invite you into if that's the right spot for you. And if you feel like, okay, neither of these are feeling great, then just come talk to us. Let's have a conversation and let's figure out maybe the next step for you is to just serve and shake people's hands or help with coffee on a Sunday. And that's just a good start for you too. And that's okay.
Awesome. All right, so that was the Reboot series here in January 2023. If you haven't listened to all the sermons yet, go back, check it out. Also, check out the music too. We really are being strategic in the songs we sing too. That it really reflects around the message, around the theme of the series. Check that out with the Well Collective. You can find that at MalibuPacificChurch.music or on the app. Listen to all the songs from this past month. Also, we want to get you to find your next step here at the church. So hop online to the app, hop online to the events, and you'll just find some really amazing things. There's so many things to be a part of at this church, but don't feel like you have to be a part of all of them. Find your real next step.
Yep.
Don't have FOMO, which is fear of missing out by trying to do everything and burn yourself out. Find the things.
I struggle with that.
Yeah, same. Find the things that God's calling in your life and do them well. And feel the freedom to do so. All right?
Yes.
Follow, live, and obey. All right? With that said, please share the sermons or these podcasts with people that you know who maybe need to hear it. If you want to have any questions inside of the podcast with the sermon or anything like that, send them to me, Joel@MalibuPacific.church. Love to hear all of your questions, comments, concerns, and hand gestures with what's going on in the life of this church. And if you just want to gossip about it too, you can call me. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm not going to gossip about the church. There's just amazing things that are happening here.
Such good things.
So again, thank you so much for listening to Now What, the podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.